Howdy.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Not too bad.
Good.
How about you?
I'm okay. Not great, but okay. I just got my unit's budget yesterday and they slashed my budget 27%.
Wow. That is some pretty big stuff.
Yeah, that's on top of the 5% we were asked to reduce it last year, which I did. And then we were told this year there weren't going to be any further cuts. And then I got my budget and it was cut to ribbons.
Hmm.
So we're having to
Was there
re-strategize all our programming now to see what we can and cannot do.
is that like as of like right now your budget is that? So
July
it's not
1st. Yeah. It's July 1st. They never get the budgets to us before the fiscal year. The this is actually really good. Traditionally, it's you get it in October. So you don't get your budget until, way into your fiscal year, and then they start closing the fiscal year in April. So you have like this tiny window to spend your money.
so you weren't able to spend it all before you got it, is what you're saying.
No. But obviously some things you have to do and they come due, and then you have to work that out if they cut certain things, they just completely cut them out of my budget. So, like,
Yeah.
I have $225 for video lab equipment. It's like basically that's batteries for cameras. That's it. That's all I can afford this year.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we used to run into that with library stuff where they were just like, you don't understand. We have to pay our subscriptions or people will not send us
yeah,
materials.
they did that to me last year. They cut the software amounts. And I was like, look, I can't negotiate these prices. This is what this software costs. Hi, Nancy.
Hi.
I'm just complaining about my budget cuts that I just got yesterday.
Oh, that's no fun. Hi, Kent.
I
Bye,
can't.
Kent. Let's see. Resistance, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I guess Rutwa said she can't make it today because she has a budget meeting to go to. So it's
Speaking
that
of
time of
budget,
year.
yeah.
On.
What about you, Nancy? Do you have a budget? Do you have a
I
good
have a
budget?
budget. That was earlier. Yeah, I have a budget. Yeah,
It's
I
always
have a
nice.
budget. I don't, but so at my level, I have a budget. I don't recall where the state is in the budget process and if the institution has the budget yet. But at
Mhm.
my little lowly level, I have a budget. I'm good.
Yeah,
Whatever
so I
that.
was telling Rosemary is like the state would come across with their part of the budget whenever they felt like it, right? Which was probably like Rosemary was saying in October or something, right? And then by that time, you would have had to have spent a bunch of money in
Exactly.
order to
Yeah.
keep the doors open. So you were always running into that. Okay.
Michael,
So
I
I
have,
think
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think this is us.
Oh, okay. So before we get started, just a totally tangential, I just came from a great deans and chairs meeting. Anyway, but we have the most amazing library here, and we have a great special collections area, and they have this kind of great open space, and they let us host the meeting in there. Anyway, so on my way out, the library director stopped me. Our library has the absolute best swag on campus by far. And so she loaded me up with their swag from this year. And she swears she gets it from the same company that the whole campus is supposed to get it from. But she every year she just gets the best swag. So anyway, I just had to share that. I love librarians for all the reasons. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Now carry on.
All right. So I guess we're moving along. So we did the first round of extractions. I think pretty much almost all the stuff got done. Um, So the first question is just sort of general feedback about it, because this the reason that we're just sort of did a small number to start with was to get a sense, practice doing it, say, does this work? Are these the right questions? Are there any issues before we get too far along, so that if we're going to change the template at all, that we don't, that we can do it early on instead of having to mess with, data that had already been taken, that kind of a thing. So I don't know. So maybe to start with general comments about the process. Do people like it? Are there any issues?
I didn't have any problem with the process. It was pretty straightforward. But what I felt like maybe I was over putting too much content in the little discussion boxes, because when I compared it to Michael to something you did, it's like I had like 4 paragraphs, you had 1 sentence for on the same issue. So it's like maybe it's too much. I don't know. There's that was one question I had. And I know that I got the message that we were supposed to start the consensus process. I looked at it, but I had no idea what to do with that.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah. So step two, I think we were going to maybe I was going to planning on like looking at maybe step through um, one of these things to just sort of see how these things came out. Um, okay.
Can we go to her good point and kind of implied question about
Yes.
how much to put in the text boxes? I'll say, Rosemary, you are, I think, headed in the right direction. In one of our other, Michael and I, our other scoping reviews, I really struggled with that. And I too often put too little in the boxes and learned, and we kept trying to hammer home that I was putting too little in and I just had really struggled with that for some reason. And then when it got to working with the boxes, the ones that have more information, I mean, there's probably overload, but too little is not helpful. And I found that challenging. I'm going to try to work on that this time. But so that's why I acted surprised when you said Michael had like a sentence. Although it may have been just crystal clear. Like you don't have to go overboard, but yeah.
Well,
No,
like, for example, one might have been, resistance. They didn't define resistance. You might have
Well,
written, and I said,
yeah.
well, they didn't define resistance, but they talked about all these things. So it was like, I wasn't sure that I was maybe it was overkill.
and I just said no.
But for that one, I think that makes sense because that one is, do they define it or not? Kind of, yeah.
So, but I mean, I think that's okay. And as Nancy said, it's not bad to have more stuff. Um, I think sometimes like when you sort of like think about, so what are we doing with this stuff as we sort of move through the process? And I think like with the other project, I think one of the things we found was, if we had like brief annotations, it might be something that would jog our memory, but then we would have to go back to the paper when we were actually writing it up and extracting out details. Like, so we're like, okay, this would be a candidate paper to illustrate the point that we're trying to make here. And, but there wasn't enough in that thing. And sometimes it was also a little challenging to, sort of extract meaning just based on that little snippets or those little snippets, right? So, I mean, I think more is better. I mean, I admit being very brief, maybe overly brief, but maybe it was sort of the state I was in when I was
Well, but
reading
you
them.
also have a good sense of how it's used.
Right.
So I think you know that if we're asking, does it have a definition? Like that's crystal clear. But how does it do a thing?
Right.
I think we have to be pretty developed. And I just want to reiterate the point that he just made. When we got to the later stages, there was a lot of rereading of articles because it just wasn't clear from the extractions. And those situations where it's like, I don't even know what this extraction means. So it was kind of written like note to self. Don't write it like note to self. I found those particularly frustrating. So imagine them as notes to each other and excerpts. like use quotes when relevant, because the having to go back and reread so many articles takes a long time. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some of that's, I mean, some of that's going to happen anyway because it's 3 months
Yeah.
from the time that you like did the initial thing and then you're actually trying to write it up, after you've gone through all this stuff, right? And there's a big time lag. And so whatever associations that you've made with it, you've sort of forgotten, and or it wasn't you who did the original extraction. So I mean I would not complain about having more content in there. So don't feel like you shouldn't put as much in. Maybe you're thinking I would rather not have to put as much.
So now I'm
That's-
thinking, am I being overly verbose? That's
no,
what
it's
my
it's good.
concern is. Yeah.
That's all good. We can I mean we can look at that one article as well. Like we can look at the consensus thing for that just as an illustration. That can be one of the ones that we look at as a way
Good.
to sort of yeah.
I did find it difficult to get four done in this period of time, but I was out of town on a family issue for part of that time. So that contributed because, when you leave, it's not just the time you're away, but everything that piles up while you're gone and the 200 plus emails and all of that. So I did get a little behind. And so that's why I didn't really get to any of the consensus stuff. And I did look at one of them and I had no idea what I was supposed to do.
It's not intuitive. Yeah.
Mhm.
I looked at the consensus stuff, but I didn't try to do one. I saw that you'd done one, Nancy, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So I've done them before in another, so that's the
Yeah.
only reason. Yeah, I will say I don't think that step is necessarily intuitive. So I think that'll be a good use of today, is doing a little with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
I just made a few little notes to myself and I'm trying to remember. They're not about the process, but I just dropped, and of course now I'm just trying to remember what I was thinking. But and I chatted with Michael about this, but if I remember correctly, two of the four I was assigned, I thought should be tossed out. Like upon reading it carefully, not just the inclusion exclusion, I thought ultimately these don't really belong in our now narrower specific buckets. So those were super fast. And so I wrote, and I can put it in a more helpful spot after, in our today's, let me just put it here rather than above. I just thought we'll want to say something like, and like this is what I was seeing. Although some scholars address classroom resistance broadly to include academic dishonesty, cheating, disengagement, work avoidance, whatever. Our scoping review focuses specifically on resistance to pedagogical choices that disrupt students' expectations about how and what they learned. That the sentences in our agenda document, if that was too much, but just I ran into that as part of the process, like good articles, maybe about resistance-ish, maybe more broadly, but not resistance to pedagogical choices about these two buckets. So I just put that there in part as a reminder for down the road. We'll put that in our paper. And then in one article, I don't know why I thought this was so important to write down as a self-reminder, but I just thought it was interesting that this one article talked about this kind of continuum, or like acceptance, resistance, and that kind of in the middle in there is this cognitive dissonance. And I just thought that's an interesting way to think about part of the process of resistance is cognitive dissonance. So I just added those as notes for way down the road, but
That's good.
yeah. We also, Michael and I discovered, well, this is the consensus. We discovered, unless Michael, you found out something after the fact, but we found out that coevidence's a functionality of the consensus form is no longer there. So we'll have to figure out what to do about that. And we can get to that when we look at it. But yeah, anyway.
Okay.
Was
Yeah, the key. Oh, sorry. The key point being, and maybe you notice, like when it pulls up the full text in the split window with the whatever with the extraction form, you can't cut and paste, or at least I couldn't, and Nancy couldn't cut and paste off of that PDF into the. And I believe you used to do that, like that actually. And so I don't know if they changed some, or whatever, they glitched it somehow, but so that makes it less cool. Um, so I was sort of suggesting that, one workaround is just to open the PDF in a separate window. And then you can cut and paste it just fine into there. It's just that it's locked the window so that you can't cut and paste off of it for some reason. So
Oh, and I was trying to cut and paste off of, and maybe we
right.
should wait until we get there. But like,
Yeah,
here's what
the
I wrote.
consensus thing is different. Yeah.
Yeah.
And right. So this is a separate issue, but a similar.
Okay.
It's a different issue, but the same kind of idea. Okay. So, and then I guess another thing that that Kent discovered was if you click the move to full text instead of the view full text, then it kicks it back.
First you have a heart attack that you've just
That's right.
ruined the entire project. And
That's
that you're
right.
making Nancy, who you saw was very responsible and had done hers. You could see this. And then you accidentally sent it back to full text review, and you thought, oh crap, Nancy's gonna kill me. Fortunately, it must have required you to also move it back to our bucket. Once I sent
Yes.
it back there, I approved it to come back, but we were able
Yeah.
to find them. Yeah.
Right.
And your
So
stuff didn't disappear. So
yeah.
to
So
COVID
that
is a plus. Yeah, it didn't remove
Yeah.
what you'd done. Yeah.
It keeps a good record. Yeah.
Not to drag us back, but I didn't have any problems cutting and pasting from the window to our form. What
yeah.
browser are you using?
Firefox.
No.
Do you have like
Well, I
whatever
use
that
Chrome. That might just
Chrome?
be the issue. It might just
Yeah.
be a browser issue.
I have found Firefox is getting worse about compatibility for some of this stuff. So, and yeah, I was thinking about checking a different browser.
You use
But
Firefox. Firefox. I haven't heard that in forever.
I've been using
I just learned
Netscape.
something new about you.
exactly.
I've
right.
been using Netscape. Is that a problem?
I used to love Netscape.
Like people who still have an AOL Gmail or AOL email address. It's like,
That's right. Yes,
how's that still a thing?
I know. I'm sentimental. It was the open sourcey thing. I don't know if Opera is still around. Opera was a thing as a browser. That was like
Never even heard of it.
Mm-mm.
oh, it was a big open source. It was supposed to be whatever software wants to be free kind of a thing, open everything. But I think as with most things, there isn't enough resources to maintain it. So
You get
it
what you
doesn't,
pay for.
yeah, it doesn't continue to evolve. Anyway, yeah, so the bottom line is if that happens, don't worry. Like that was and but yeah, so what happens is it goes back into the pool for the full text, so you can find it there, but it still needs 2 votes to come back in to the to send it back to extraction, which is why when Kent did it, then it might have disappeared for him, but then it also did not appear in the extraction phase. So yeah, so I kicked it back in, and then everything was still there, so we didn't lose any.
Did it still have me assigned to it when you put it back in?
Yes, it did.
So everything we'd done to it was still there. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was looking for it in the extraction bin because I thought you'd put it back in extraction. And I was like, nothing's here.
That's
But
why
then it was
that's
like,
why I emailed you. I'm like, I'm totally
let's
screwed up.
look
It's
back in the
gone.
other
I don't know where it went.
Yeah.
Nancy's gonna kill me.
Yeah. So yeah, so luckily everything is just fine. Okay. Anything else before we sort of to jump into the consensus thing? Are we good?
Was everybody, I had difficulty with the student expectations category. I don't know that I want to do away with it, but I couldn't always tell from some of the things I was reading. I'm like, I don't know what the students expected. I couldn't tell. Yeah.
And I'll say at the end of one of mine, I wrote, this is hard because what I found is that a lot of these kind of the how or the what you're describing requires a lot of inference from us. I mean, I think necessarily so, but yeah. And I think that's kind of what you're alluding to is it's not necessarily explicit or clear. And so we kind of have to infer. Anyway, yeah.
Right. And actually, Nancy and I were sort of talking about this as well. Like, how much do you like what you don't want to be inferring to the extent that you're, projecting
Yeah.
your own stuff onto the
Right.
author when the author
Right.
didn't necessarily mean it, right? So I think there's kind of a fine line there about, when are you inserting yourself into that or not. So yeah, and then I guess for student expectations, I think I kind of read it, at least in part, as what was the author's interpretation of student expectations, as opposed to was there raw data of the student expectations? Is that aligned with sort of what we were talking about when we decided on that as a field?
Or either of those. So does the author
Yeah.
interpret say what they think the student expectations were, or is it clear to us from what the students are saying? And even if the author doesn't say, this is what the students expected, we can tell from the
Right. I think right. You can extract examples from the text, right? I mean, whatever's evidence in the text that's
Yeah.
being offered for that question. And I think it's okay if some of these questions are not answered, right? I mean, if they are blank, right? If it wasn't a component of the paper, then it's okay, right? And just to make note of it. All right.
That's helpful. That's what I needed. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And it sounds like probably the best bet is if it's not clear, it's right. Doesn't say, but here's what might be said, right?
Yeah, I think, as much context as you can supply for that, right? To
Yeah.
say this,
sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was going to say, and right, saying it's not explicit, but it's clear that the students wanted the professor to feed them the content, whatever. Or
Yeah.
they just wanted to know what was on the exam. So anyway.
Quit giving us this busy work. Yeah.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Where should we go? Or should we just follow what you're doing?
Are you you can see the screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
I was just gonna pop some of these up just to show where we are, so you can just follow along if you want. So if you click whatever start consensus or do whatever it is, right? You still get your little screen of the text, and then so there's Kent's answers, there's Rosemary's answers, and then this is where Providence has, if the data field is identical, it will just push it right through. So these two fields, you pick the same thing. Type of institution. So Chapman University. So one person thought it was research intensive, one thought it was teaching intensive, and then
I put how they self-describe.
that was Kent. Oh,
Yeah.
I was like Rosemary was probably the one if it was if it was a California school.
I copied that and pasted it because it said, oh, it was R2. I'm sorry. I just clicked the wrong box there. That should have been the second box. It is an R2 at teaching.
You clicked the second box. I clicked the first box.
Oh, you clicked Oh, you clicked the.
Yeah, because they called themselves
Yes.
a comprehensive
Which one is,
university.
which column is me and which column is you
You're
again?
the
The-
far right. I'm the middle.
That's Kent.
Oh, you're the
Yeah,
first
Kent
column.
was actually the one
You
that
said it was
pasted
research
that.
intensive. And I said that it was teaching intensive because they said it was an R2.
That's right. Because Rosemary's in an R1, therefore everybody else
Right.
is teaching.
Everyone else is a teaching intensive.
Uh-oh.
I don't have a dog in this fight. We can
Then-
click it research intensive if that's what you think it is.
It was actually the word comprehensive that made me click it because they
Right.
self-described as a comprehensive
Yeah.
institution. So that's
Yeah.
why I cut and pasted that down there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we think this one is like Kent's is the answer we'll go with. So
Yeah.
like an R2 is still an R, right? I mean,
Right.
it's still a research institution, is my sense, right? It's been a little while
Okay.
since but okay, so anyway, so
It is.
if you click anyway, so if you try to choose between the two, you click this box and it magically populates that third column. So, and then if you wanted to change your mind, if you click that box, it toggles to that screen, right? So whatever you do. So that's process wise how that works.
All right. I foresee a question. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, the United States was the same here. There was probably an extra space between.
I was going to say we both
answers.
have the exact same thing.
Wow.
Oh,
How is that
I
not
don't-
consensus?
That is so
Introduction to
interesting.
molecular genetics course. I think I copied and pasted that right
That
from.
is so
I know
funny.
I
Right.
did.
There's probably a space at the end or something.
exactly.
Or they
So-
used a different font.
So how do you create a decision with the text boxes?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't give me an
This is the trick.
opportunity.
Yeah,
to-
so you just click on one of them. I mean, if they're
Oh,
the
okay.
same, it doesn't matter, right?
All
You
right.
just click
Yeah.
on one of them.
Because I looked at that and went, wait a minute, we both said the same thing.
Yeah, so yeah, don't worry about like it's just pattern matching stuff, right? It has to be identical. And I think I mentioned before, free
I
text
see.
fields are generally not going to be you will not get a match even if, another one I was
Yeah.
looking at,
I
was the
said
same
active
thing.
learning. Ken said perception of active learning. I mean, we're both saying the same thing, just using different words, slightly different words.
Yes. Does anybody want one or the other?
Either one's fine
I'm
with
trying
me.
to remember what the actual question is.
It's the
Which
question,
bucket?
it's the how
How
question.
is it?
Well, I can read that, but what's the actual question?
What pedagogy or what was
but
the
what- I mean-
pedagogical issue?
Yeah.
of
So is
that-
it active learning? Is it group learning? Is there some kind of pedagogy that
right? It's,
you're
it's
supposed
a
to describe what the how was they were resistant to?
Okay,
Right.
yeah, I need to see
It's-
the actual question.
it's our bucket 1 or bucket 2, right? So it's our bucket 1 how.
Yeah.
Right. I think it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter to me.
Maybe we'll just go with
We're
active
saying
learning.
the same thing.
Okay. I do not know why
I don't need.
Yeah.
this thing did not like
That's
that.
And
interesting.
we both put the same thing.
Yeah.
Again, it could be, well, yeah,
No.
I don't know why. It could be that like somebody put a space in the other box or something, right? So something weird like
It is
that.
possible that I started to write something and then changed my mind.
Yeah. So yeah, again, okay, motivations for the paper.
Here's the
again,
trick.
so-
Yeah.
yeah, so these are the full the full text parts. So
I think Nancy knows
So-
what I want to ask. What if I want both?
Exactly. And you do want both. And so
Uh-huh.
here's, at least when I tried, Covidence didn't let me do what it used to let me do, which is include both. I could click one and then copy and paste the other into the decision box, but I couldn't get that to work. Let's see if Firefox lets him do it.
no, it doesn't, right? That was the exact same thing, right? So it used to be if you click into this, you could actually like highlight the text and then copy it over. But we could see if Rosemary can do it on
Yeah.
her
Yeah,
If
Chrome.
it's a
If-
multi-year,
If we
Oh.
clicked on that white box, we could edit it. Which
Yeah, so
means
right.
oh, wait.
Yeah, so you
Oh,
can edit it, right? But you just can't copy
Oh,
and
okay,
paste
that's
it.
what
you
it was.
click on the
Okay.
box.
Oh,
it
right.
just-
So
it
we
just
could
puts that
retype.
answer in there.
okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
We
that'll
could
work.
retype
Right.
that whole thing, but that's
If
too
you're going to
much.
retype it, I'd retype mine. It's shorter.
Exactly, right? That's exactly what my
But
approach is.
it's a problem though. It's a problem. Yeah, because we want to capture both if
Oh.
both are helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
So
trying to
there's
find it.
no copying and pasting. None of us can do that.
So what I can do is I can save this, and then if you want to open it, Rosemary,
I'm trying that right now. Let's see.
then I can
All
click
right.
out of it. If you want to share your screen, then we can look at your screen too.
Well, I don't know if it's going to work here either, but
And I use Chrome, so
Yeah, I'm in Chrome.
woo, look at this long one. Sorry, I'm just looking. Yeah, I can't copy the
no, I
other one.
can't either. I can't
Okay, what
either.
if, oh, so here's
You could go back. You could steal it and go. If you were the reviewer, you could go back to yours and cut and paste it in there. Then it'd be
I
there and
think
you
I
can.
just figured out what to do. I think let me, I'm testing it on another one. Yep, I just figured it out. Okay, duh.
What'd you do?
Okay, so here's what let me find y'all. Open a consensus thingamajigger. I just figured it out. I must have been tired.
Right, where did we go? Did you want me to do that?
We were on
Whoever, I don't know who's driving.
Year longitudinal study. That's when we were working from.
Okay, so okay, yeah.
So this one.
Sure. Okay, so this copied the second column. Okay, who is this? Is this Michael or Rosemary?
Me.
Okay, Michael, click the white box, the decision box. Click that.
Mhm.
Copy that.
Ah,
Yes.
yeah, smart cookie.
Okay.
Copy that.
Select the other box
And then
paste
click the other
that
box
behind
and
it.
then click in there and then paste.
Oh,
Okay.
brilliant.
So smart.
There
That
it
is
is.
brilliant.
That
You
is-
win.
Well, I
Very-
tried the other day and this didn't come to mind. So, but okay. And just to reiterate, when both responses are helpful, valid, and that will often be the case, we really do need to capture both. So, yeah.
Yeah. So So I think again, I think it's useful to, see where, is this the same answer or is this a different answer, right? Or is there extra information or whatever? Like, is this one subsumed in this one or not? So I think it's useful so as not to duplicate it, totally. But yeah, otherwise it's totally fine to just to concatenate them.
Look at you with your words.
It's a it's a computer term, although although like an English term too, but it's
And this is
only in the
another copy and paste issue. It's just because I didn't put 179 there, the citation. I just copied and pasted the questions. That's the difference. There are other,
right, and
I
it looks like
copied that
there's a
right from
leading
the study.
space and stuff
Yeah,
like
there
that.
is.
So
Yeah, it
like
doesn't.
that's fine.
And for what it's worth, for down the road, page numbers would be helpful. So just
Oh,
just
okay.
as an FYI.
Yeah, if you're taking quotes, it's nice to
Okay.
have an index
Good
for
to
them.
know. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Definition of resistance. Not explicitly defined. Here's the sources that aren't for the non-definitions, and then
So what I don't understand that response. So it's not explicitly defined, but here are some sources. What are the sources?
They just say resistance we examine resistance. I mean, they do say expectancy theory, but they don't give us a definition of what it is. Like they don't say what it is. They just cite that person as their source.
Oh, see, I would not know that's what this means in this box.
Okay. So I can just say they cite this person when they mention it the first time.
Yeah.
Right.
okay. And then this is a different citation.
The author's ground student resistance using.
So this is a place where it might be useful to actually, when you're doing the consensus, to actually go in and maybe take a peek at the paper and say, where is this person getting
I just
their thing and whatever.
Is the consensus, is it always are we making the consensus somebody else? Or are we not worrying about it? Could it be a third person or is it one of the two from the first time around?
We
That's a good
can
question.
figure that out. I mean, we can decide how we want to do it. Um, I mean, so at least at least the ones that I've seen so far, which is five, right? There's a lot of overlap, so it's not like there's big disagreements. So typically there might be one or two questions, for example, like this Tolman categories, right? Is it metacognition? Is it native classroom experiences, right? So that's a substantive, you know, difference of opinion there. Um, so
I found that particular one challenging because often it's more than one.
Yes.
right, and that's
So,
why it's a checkbox, so you can check as many as you want.
oh, you can.
Right.
So that's your
There
thing.
were other
Yeah.
studies where I had more than just one.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
check multiples. I did. Yeah. I had the same challenge, so just FYI.
And I think
Yeah.
this might have been the first one I did, so I was still not sure how to do that.
Mhm.
And we
Yeah.
thought,
Different.
Michael and I chatted, and at least I felt I needed kind of a cheat sheet for their specific, like what each of these means and doesn't mean. And so I started one but didn't get very far. Oh,
That one. So this is like the modify. I think this is what you were doing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you work on it?
No,
Did someone else work on it?
I don't know.
I did.
Did
I
I
don't
do
think.
this? Did I do that? Yeah, I may have gotten farther
Well-
than I thought.
But we have to look at the history.
Oh my
There's-
gosh,
there's the-
somebody just give me a nap. Oh my gosh, y'all.
Oh, see, that's you. Ha ha.
Wow. I need a nap. Okay. It's not done, but I needed and this is actually I watched an interview with Tolman because I didn't have my book with me, so I did that. But anyway, yeah.
Okay.
I'll go back and
Yeah, because this is one of the things we identified was like, do I really remember what these categories are and what they really mean? So we tried to jot down. So this was the handout for the Stille conference.
the top part, just
yeah,
the
the top.
very top. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Nancy was sort of expanding on the different components and what's included in them. So that's just like, again, something you can like post it next to your desk or whatever when you're looking at them to say, okay, is what might this fall into? So, and again, that's
Yeah, because I was grabbing the book
Not
when I
bad.
was trying to decide that. I picked up the book and I'm like, what does he mean when he says that? Is that this
Exactly.
article? Particularly if they weren't talking about Tolman. I'm like, I don't know. What do they mean? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So if anyone wants to help fill out, I mean, it doesn't have to be long, but just help fill out this cheat sheet, that would be great.
Yeah.
Like just briefly, what counts as environmental
Mhm.
just, yeah.
Right.
So it's like a cheat sheet, like our 2 buckets cheat sheet. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and Tolman kind of has one chapter for each one of these, except there might be 2 or 3 chapters on one of them.
Which
So
is why I didn't do it quickly because
yeah, exactly. So, okay. Anyway, so that could be helpful.
Yeah.
For that.
And honestly, Rosemary, it makes sense that we would be, those are 2 things that might interact with each other, right? Like, and so it was really probably a matter of like point of view. Were you thinking about like what's going on in their head? And when I was thinking about like what happened to him before, right?
Yeah.
Um,
yeah. And he even talks about that, yeah, they're not,
Well, yeah. I mean, they interact with each other. But it is useful to like try to
Yeah.
suss out.
Yep.
Like,
So-
is there a standard definition that we can use as opposed to our sort of internal
So if
definition,
we
right?
decide it's both, what happens if we try to click both boxes in the pink
Oh.
decision box?
Okay. So you can always just click on one and then you can edit this box, right? So then you
Okay.
just manually
okay.
add the other one in there.
Easy, yeah.
But yeah, so your note should mention, should be justification for why you picked that thing, right? Okay. So let's see. Okay. So I guess I didn't know if we wanted to try to resolve this or I mean since Rosemary and Kent
Yeah, that was like
are
a disagreement to me. Yeah.
actually read through these, do you have a sense about what you think might be an appropriate overall response? I guess maybe the question is
I
really
think
like,
that
is this response, would Kent agree that this is a reasonable sort of response? Because this thing is sort of like saying there wasn't anything, but then this is saying there was something.
well, I think
So
I think it's both again because they didn't explicitly define it, but I took from it that they were grounding it in this expectancy theory, and then I framed that model as being, students' achievement related decision not to engage. So that's not necessarily from the paper, but they referenced the
Oh,
model. They
oh.
referenced the model, and the model says this.
We are in 100% agreement. So I
Yeah.
took that line very literally and I
Yeah.
said, did they give me a definition? And the answer is no.
No.
Do they
Yeah,
use
they
the
did.
term?
Yeah.
Yes. And when
And
they use
they,
the
but they
term, they
did,
cite these people and the model that Rosemary just mentioned.
right, right.
all right. So maybe we can say not
Not
explicitly.
explicitly defined.
Yeah.
And
And
then
I
this
think,
one,
just to clarify, I think that's important information. Do they define it or not? Because I think we all agree it's important to define the central ideas that we talk about. So it's helpful to know how often people are not defining it. And if there's an appropriate inference, then I think we can include that. My question is, how much did you infer here, Rosemary? Like,
I,
yeah,
I, I did not infer that they were grounding it in expectancy theory.
right. I'm
That is
thinking about the
stated in
last
the paper.
sentence. I'm thinking
But the
about your
last
last sentence.
part, I was like, well, what is that model that they're grounding it in? So I don't think, I can't actually remember, but I don't think that was specifically stated in the paper. And I also noticed, did they actually cite this? Because I was looking at their references, maybe there was a different paper, and I was like, they mentioned it in the text, but it wasn't in the reference list.
yeah, it looks like it's
Yeah.
right there.
Oh, it is. Okay, so that
Sorry.
must be somebody else.
Yeah.
Because I was like, how do you have an in-text citation? That's not in your.
Oh my gosh, are you saying you haven't done that in some of your
Well,
that gets through? I mean, you kind of hope
things
somebody
slip
catches
by
that, but
sometimes,
that's so
right?
hard. Yeah.
I use Zotero, so it usually takes care of that for me.
Oh.
But it is, yeah, things do slip through. So
So
do we want to take that sentence out about the model of what the model means? The model says that it's a decision not to engage. That's how they're defining it under the expectancy value theory. But I think I inferred that from the fact that they were using that model, not
yeah, because you
what they
just
said
said
in
that's
the
how they
paper,
defined it, but I don't think you mean that, right?
right?
Yeah.
So maybe
So
we
I
should
kind
just
of like
take
what
that.
Michael just did. I think it's
Instead it's
helpful what
inferred.
Michael just did. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You know me well enough to know that I'm very opinionated, and it definitely sometimes seeps in. So I have to watch that.
And I think we should be, if a paper not only doesn't have a definition, but it's not clear that they mean this thing, I don't think we should figure it out on our own and add it. Yeah, I think that's one of those
Yeah,
places we
that's
want to be
dangerous.
careful about inferring too much.
Mhm. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So,
Oh, they do say it.
I mean, it's pretty
Okay.
subtle,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know if you can see this on your screens.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, page 180, it says that use a model developed for exploring level that students choose to engage or not engage during active learning activities, situation, or work. So it's
Okay.
saying they're situating their work on
Okay.
this model, and one of the components is
Choosing not to
Um,
engage or disengage. That's
identifying.
interesting.
Yeah, and they use that exact language. So I think
Choosing
that's
not to engage, right?
yeah.
I
That
think
They
that's
do
good. We
say
want
that,
both.
actually.
I can see the difference in our approach. So, like, what I did was basically go look at every time they use the word resistance and see if they operationalize the term. The answer was no. The first time they used it, they're talking about this other character that I cited, the Patrick character.
Mhm.
So I was like, that must be where they're getting this idea from, right? And so I think what occurs to me in this conversation is that probably most of our articles now have the word resistance in them, but we may encounter some that don't even have the term
Yeah.
resistance in them.
Yes. I think I had
yeah.
one. Yeah, I think I had one, I think. But yes.
Yeah, we did include cognate ideas or associated
Yeah.
operation or whatever. And
So I want to know that too when I get here. Like this paper does use the term resistance. I don't know how many times you can search. It's several dozen, but like a good bit. So like it's there.
okay. So, and I would say that like this last sentence then is an appropriate way
Yes.
to
I agree.
Yeah. It is not inferred. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uses
it
it
is.
15 times.
15. See, so that
Just did the search.
Yeah. And that was my approach. You were much more generous. I was like, they give me a word, do they define it? No, no,
Right.
no, no, no.
Yeah, so I think it's good to capture both the fact that there is no explicit definition and that there is there's an
There you go. They
action.
do reference a model. And
Yeah, there's an action that a model that they're using. So I think that's reasonable. Okay.
Right. See, isn't this hard?
I know,
Yes.
and I'm learning so
Requires-
much.
It requires close reading, which yeah.
It takes time, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think like that's, and that's a good way to try to do the consensus thing is to try to say, okay, if these things don't match, how can I find this concept in the text and see like, okay, where are they drawing this from? Does it make sense? Does it make more sense than what I did? Did it make less sense than what I did?
And
And you
actually,
can always like ask the other person as well, right? You can
Yeah.
always contact the other person.
and in this case, back to our use of page numbers, like even doing the direct quote of that passage and a page number would have made it easy
Yeah.
for me if I was doing the consensus to go, yep, you're
Exactly.
right. I'm gonna go with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'll know
Yeah.
that for next
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, that is not a good point. Okay. All right. So the Tolman categories. So in theory, these are, so this is your whatever justification for why you picked that. When I was doing the Tolman things, I did try to like create a heading. So I would say like, especially if there's more than one. So I would say, institutional culture, colon, this is the stuff relating to institutional culture, negative classroom experiences, colon, this is whatever. That way you're not trying to do the extra work of re-inferring. Like, okay, there's a bunch of text here. What is it? What does it mean? I mean,
Yeah.
if you've only checked one box, in theory, it's pretty clear. But
That's
Okay.
great. That's a great recommendation. It'll make the later stages so much easier. Yeah. Because at
Agreed.
some point, we're going to be looking at this giant spreadsheet with a bunch of cells of text, and we're going to be like, wait, what is this about? What did I mean? So yeah, the more clear you can be, the later stages get much easier.
yeah. Okay. So do we want to sort of take a stab at this then? Okay. So what Kent is saying is that this expectancy value theory is, basically what is your expectancy? It is based on your prior experiences, right? And so if you think it's not going to work, you're not going to whatever. So and then Rosemary is saying it's metacognitive because it is how you are thinking about your learning. And
Don't quite follow. Yeah.
so I mean, so it's sort of it's a similar end result, I think, is what I'm sort of getting from this, right? Is like, um, I don't know,
Um,
like students are saying, if I do active learning, that's
yeah,
not
yeah,
that's not how I learn or something.
yeah,
Like learning is not happening,
yeah,
right? As opposed to, it's shaped by your prior, maybe it's shaped by your prior
yeah.
exposures. Maybe it's whatever, not maybe it's whatever. So, maybe it's just the way that I think learning happens.
Right. I would capture both of those. I think both of those are helpful.
Yep, I
Okay.
agree.
All right.
Actually,
So,
when I reread the quote I gave, I can see both in it now.
right, exactly,
Right,
right.
right.
I can also see the value of page numbers because now I'm looking at this going, where was this in
Yeah,
the article
yeah,
that I made this metacognition decision? Because yeah, the prior classroom experiences is also discussed there. And not exactly sure why I went with one and not the other,
Yeah,
or
but
not both.
but I see now when they say what their perceptions of what active learning is a metacognitive problem. Like, do they think this is going to help their learning or not? Yeah.
yeah.
Right. And how do they learn best, which is always a dangerous question to ask students. But
Yes, it is. Michael,
Yay,
remind
you telling
me,
me.
in that text box, how much formatting can you do? Can you make things bold? I can't remember.
I don't think so, no.
Okay, darn it. That would be helpful. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's plain text. Okay. Instructor expectation, not stated, drawing on prior literature.
oh, I think they were saying in it that oftentimes the instructors are sort of expecting them to be resistant, whether they might be or not. I'm not sure where I got that. Again, this is where page numbers would have been helpful.
I
And
think
here's where I think it's helpful to look at the question because I think this is about instructor expectation for how learning happens, right? Not necessarily that they expect students to be resistant. But
Maybe
Right.
I'd have to
maybe I
look at the question.
misunderstood that.
Well, I could be wrong. I'd have to, that's why I'm wondering what the question is. I just don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, here it is. It's the on page 2. And that faculty may often overestimate the level of student resistance. So I saw that as faculty expectations.
But let's see. I'm looking at the, let's see. What behavior the extra, okay, so I can see why you think that. But if it's helpful, we say, oh, we don't have that for
where's
the
the
other ones. We need to probably, anyway. We explain the instructor expectation as what behavior the instructor expects from students. And I think this goes back to the buckets, right? Am I remembering correctly? Let's try to get on the
let's
same
look at
page
this.
for what these
Yeah.
questions mean.
Because
Okay. So this is our note.
Yeah.
Is the instructor expectation is what behavior the instructor expects from students. So typically when I've been doing it, it's like, well, the instructor expects students to engage with the content or to participate in group work or be vulnerable
Or to
you know,
see patients for psychiatry students, to see patients as
human beings.
kind of valuable partners in the process or something like that.
so them saying in the paper that the instructors had the expectation that students were going to be resistant to active learning, that would not be the answer to this question. The answer would be the instructor expected the students to engage actively by doing these things. So
Yes.
that's the distinction there. Okay.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
put not stated. I follow that reasoning just now very well, but I put not stated because it doesn't investigate anything about teacher expectations in this. It's all about the student perceptions of what active learning is. So I can't tell because it cuts across all these different classrooms. I can't tell what any of those teachers are expecting. I know that they're supposedly they they might be doing active learning, but they were sort of asking these students before, like this particular study was interested in students' perceptions of active learning before the pandemic, during the pandemic, and after the pandemic. But it didn't assume that the instructors were trying to do it. It wanted to know what students thought about the idea. So I thought it doesn't tell me anything about what the instructors were intending, expecting, trying to do. Because some of them would be not using active learning. And so they wouldn't expect active learning. So I didn't feel comfortable saying that either. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like I couldn't
yes.
see instructors in this other than the setup that Rosemary just said, which is a kind of
It was part of the
background.
introduction. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was part of the background.
Well, and what I'm hearing you say, not having read this, but what I'm hearing you say is that it's not so much that it wasn't stated, it's that that's not what this paper is about.
Yeah. Maybe that's
So
what I should have
it's
written
not
there.
like the definition one where it's not like the definition of it that's not stated. What I'm hearing
Yeah.
is that this paper is solely about student expectations, not
Yeah.
any instructor expectations.
Yeah. So that's what I should have written because it's not negligence here. They didn't leave anything out,
Right.
right? They weren't irresponsible researchers. That's just not what they're looking
what they
at.
were
And so
looking at.
they can't tell me anything about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Contra,
again,
another one, I don't remember there was that other one that we looked at. I don't know which one of you looked at or who looked at it, but it's like, it's a lot about it's a teacher reflection. So like I got a lot from what she was expecting of her students. She wanted to do the arts-based sort of learning. So like I could really see her expectations, but I had a hard time seeing the students in that one, right?
Yep.
And I think just to kind of follow through on the logic here, I think if the paper had been about a single class that was active learning, there we could infer, even if it's not stated,
Yeah.
that the instructor expected students to engage in active learning.
Right.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So that's why here I wouldn't even say not stated.
This paper isn't talking about this.
I would say not relevant.
Yeah.
Because
Agreed.
not
I like
stated
that.
just means it's not stated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's what I
Be more
tried to say
specific.
there.
Yeah. That's good.
Oh, okay.
You can change it, Michael, to not relevant, right? Not the focus.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not,
That's more
not
specific.
stated, just me. Yeah. Yeah.
Not stated implied some negligence.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't think they were negligent.
Yeah. Interesting. That's a good, I'm glad we're talking about this as an example because that situation would not have occurred to me, but it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Okay. And there's a bunch of stuff on student expectation.
And I wrote a very short thing there.
And they really,
It was much more.
Well, and
There
it's
you go.
helpful. It's probably helpful for us to be explicit again here, and especially because we don't say anything about student expectation in the form. What we mean here is student expectation about either how learning happens or what is appropriate for them to learn about. Like what, so it's the two buckets, right?
right.
Mhm.
Student expectations for the course, right? Or whether it's
About how learning happens, or I forget how we phrased it, but
Right.
about those two specific things.
Yep. So, okay. So basically, I mean, what Kent's doing is summarizing the results because you ask students, like, what do you think about this? And then so you're like, this is what they think about this,
This is
right?
what they think. That's the
I mean,
Mhm.
that's obviously the better
Okay.
end.
And then this one, and then Rosemary's is more sort of generally speaking,
Yeah.
right?
I don't think that adds anything. I would just pick Kent's.
Okay.
Well, and it's right. That's what it sets out to do. It's not
Mhm.
what are the students' expectations. Yeah.
Okay. Student behaviors. This is a short one on this one and a long one on this side. Okay. So,
I
so
had
what do we
the,
think about that?
you go ahead, you guys talk. But I had this, I'll tell you, I just had, my logic was the same here, which is that it didn't tell me what they actually did.
Mhm.
They did talk about what they described potential behaviors as refusing to participate, not, dropping the course
Mhm.
completion issues. And so they didn't say that the students had engaged in those behaviors. They said that these were behaviors that might happen.
But
Okay.
this,
Again, they weren't focused on one particular class. They were looking at a lot of different things, but I don't know. I mean, they talked about positive behaviors and then they were very specific about the kind of negative behaviors, the lack of engagement behaviors.
Mhm.
So
but it was, so this study was just about, say it again, what was this about before, during, and after? What is, yeah, some, one of you describe it again.
If you scroll up in the document, you will see they do two things. One, they have this very tiny survey that they conducted multiple times. That's what those charts show. That's
Mhm.
before and after. The little diagram, the little dotted lines there are pandemic, emergency, remote teaching.
So I see familiarity. I see, oh, uh, I see, how well do you think you learn with it?
Yeah. There's like 4 items in their survey. Then they had open-ended responses to the same survey and they coded those.
And what was the question for the open-ended?
Like, what do you think of active learning or something to that extent? Like it was,
So there was no, how have you participated in active learning in the past? What do you do in active learning classrooms? Yeah, this one's tricky. So I'll say, I think the response on the right is helpful if it's clarified, and it probably is, but I would make it super explicit. Um, that point that the study the
I'm
study isn't
learning.
about actual behaviors, but these are, go ahead, Kent.
No, you're going there.
No, you go. I mean, I haven't read the article, so
I think it's just, I think I can be more clear that it's not studied because this is about perceptions of active learning, but it doesn't investigate, it doesn't tell us anything about what they actually did in the classes.
even self-reported what they did. Like
Right.
it's not a, yeah,
They
yeah.
interpret it like they think, oh, they have less, their perceptions of it decrease, like they think less of it during the emergency remote teaching because they're doing less of it. And so they're not familiar with it. That's their guess, but like,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it says something, I forget if it's up here or not, but yeah, it's something about they're less familiar, so they think that learning is about being lectured to.
Yeah.
Ah, that's interesting.
But it's still just a perception, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, remember, we're, yeah.
But
Um,
it's not explicitly, I mean, it feels like it's not explicitly about resistance. It's a perception about like, well, this is what happened. I mean, like they're not saying, well, we're not engaging in active learning. They're saying this is what I'm, whatever. This is what I'm experiencing, right? As much as anything, because it says, they're not involved in active learning because whatever, it's
yeah.
COVID, right? I mean, that's my sense not having read it.
See if you can get to the
I will say, if you remember kind of at a high level view, our scoping review is ultimately about perceptions of resistance. Because we're trying to, this issue of how it's misinterpreted and all that. So I think capturing when relevant
yeah. I just
information,
meant it's
like
it's
right
about
here. Go ahead, go ahead.
I just meant it's about students' perception. I think that's good. I just think the study is about students' perceptions of active learning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, which I think is helpful
Yeah.
for our, if we step back away from what should go in this box, that is relevant to our question.
Yeah.
What students think about active learning. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why I think we got back, which is why we decided on the both metacognitive and prior experiences. Like if they have no prior experiences
Right.
with it, because they spent 2 years of remote learning, right, watching lectures online, they're going to come in with different, yeah.
What's the question here?
Recommendations.
Oh, yeah.
And this one is recommendations. Which kind of recommendations?
Is this taken out of the text, Rosemary?
Yeah.
How to
Like,
mitigate
is
or
this cut and
respond to
pasted?
resistance. Yeah,
Not
this is
cut and
how to
pasted, no, but
Yeah.
Rosemary did more work here than I did. I just took the headings. She took the headings and then and then explained them.
Okay. But are these your own explanations as opposed to the author's explanations?
no, they're the author's expert.
But
Okay.
She did.
All right,
She
just
did.
I just
She
wanted to make
cut and
sure.
pasted more than I did. That's what she
That's
did.
fine.
So I
That's
would,
fine.
just because as Michael said, it's going to be 3 months later, I
Yeah.
would, if you're copying quotes, I would put them in quotes
First, yeah.
and cite them.
Yeah, put a page number on it.
But
Just
I
so
think the
we-
quotation marks will be important too, because yeah.
I should have even done that because those are their headings for their recommendation section.
Oh, so are these like different? These are like snippet quotes? Recommendation section. Okay. All right. Okay, future work.
Oh, this one gave a lot of ideas.
Okay. So what do we think about that? Again, there's sort of like two different levels of stuff. Are we good with Rosemary's again? Is there stuff in here that
Oh, there. Uh, so without having read all of this, Kent, is yours one of the recommendations in Rosemary's column, or like what's the relationship between the two?
That's a fair question, and I feel like I cut and pasted.
Future work, let's see, that tracks incoming students who experienced ERT, whatever that is, in high school, and investigates how their conceptions change over time. So that's what your recommendation is.
Emergency remote teaching.
Oh, thank you.
and there's the
And
page
then
number
Rosemary,
right in the
where's
middle.
that? How do you represent that in your column, or do you?
I don't know.
Basically tracking.
Incoming students. Oh, well, I said granular demographics and identity intersections. So where did I get that? I don't know.
That's different from what he says.
Yeah.
But do you have his idea in your column? I think is the question.
Yes, I believe. Yeah, see, I'm looking for this.
Michael, scroll up or down so we can see her column.
My little quote
Yes.
comes right from that border in their limitation section. So that's where I was being less generous, perhaps. I'm like, where did they give me any recommendations explicitly about future research? That was it, right? It was in their limitation section. Our study didn't do the following, other people should do blank, right? So I sort of lifted that there. But it's possible, looking at Rosemary's stuff, that they made reference to other future research, like in their discussion section.
Is
Right?
that where you got that,
Maybe-
Rosemary?
Yeah, I think that there might have been some that came from the discussion. But I'm looking more work in the future that incorporates validated instruments, including surveys. Is that captured there too? That's on page 13. So that's in there. That's also in their limitations section.
13. What's the actual page number?
Oh, I don't know. Hold on. It's 189. So
So there's the limitations.
which survey
Yeah,
only
more
asks-
work is needed in the future to fully investigate if
Yes.
there are more nuanced differences in how these students think about blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Future further work should, okay, yeah. So it looks like they have it in multiple places is the trick. So I think the question for this box is what Kent wrote captured in Rosemary's box?
I think it
Or
probably
is that separate?
I don't see anything in that though about the more work in the future that incorporates validated instruments, including surveys designed using an expectancy value framework and interviews with students across diversity of institutions. And the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on perceptions of active learning.
Well, maybe we can dump this in here and then add this little piece here. Because this is sort of an overarching statement. And then
Yeah.
these are specific statements.
Yeah,
You can sort of leave it at that.
okay.
Okay. All right. And then we say complete. And then we've got complete ones. Yeah, so so this is there's the one that I
Super
completed.
helpful.
Let me think. And
Okay, now I have a question, which is, this is great because we had an opportunity to talk and discuss what were you thinking? Where did you get this? Is it necessary that every time we do one of these consensus that we have that conversation? Or can one person just go in and make the ultimate decision? Because it feels like that would be enormously time consuming.
no, I think, what one approach would be like when the second person finishes their extraction, since it's fresh in their minds, they could try to do the consensus for it. And, again, the stuff that's trivial, just do it. And then, or if you say, oh, this other person, yeah, I get that. Makes sense. We'll throw it in there, or that answer's better than my answer, or whatever. If there's sticking points where you're just like, I don't get it, and I think that there's reason for discussion, I mean, you can like send a note to the other person, or if you think that there's a big question would be useful for everybody to kind of be aware of, or work through, where you're just like, is this the kind of thing that we mean here or not, right? That we're trying to get a consensus level understanding of. Then I think that's when we would probably kick it up to the whole group, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
Okay. All right.
And one thing I'll just say, as you're doing the extraction or the consensusing, just as if things occur to you that might be interesting down the road in the paper or anything like that, capture those somewhere, just because again, this is a longish, not long, but longer than a few weeks process. And we're super busy people with full brains, and interesting ideas come to you while you're doing this. So just kind of hang on to those somewhere, because when it gets time to write, that will be helpful.
Okay. All right. Any sort of overarching questions that sort of came up during this process, or people feel all excited about doing consensuses when it comes to that?
Woo!
I feel a little more confident that I know now what I'm expected to do, because this is all very new to me. I've never done one of these before. So I was summarizing a lot of places, and maybe I was over inferring where I need to do more cut and paste and then put the page number or whatever to make it more obvious.
Right.
why I was saying that, because even I couldn't even answer that question sometimes. I was like searching through the paper. Where did I pull that from? You know? So I think that that helps me enormously to know I need to sort of shift my focus a little bit.
Yeah, it's a good thing to remind ourselves is like to be explicit and to, think about it. Think about our 3 months from now self and what we want to be reading out of this.
Yeah.
But I think it's also true, like, there are some places where you did a lot more, you know, a lot more stuff and places that you did less and sort of vice versa. And that's another useful reason to have two people do it is,
Yeah.
you get people read it at different perspectives. So you're sort of getting the best of both worlds in terms of, different ideas about what's important. So I think it's good. And yeah, and don't feel like, oh, I need to do this or that or whatever all the time. But I think hopefully the idea is that, between two people, we should be able to triangulate it pretty well.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. So I guess kind of moving forward, so again, sort of like if we want to, I mean, we can sort of like set up things in different ways, but if we want to, just sort of move forward in a more organic way, you can just like pick something to begin the extraction, just click on it and it's yours, right? So we can sort of do it at random, as opposed to like assigning people blocks of them to do.
Is that right, Michael, before you go on? Is that right? If I click, is it begin extraction? I forgot the language, but if I click
Right.
that, it registers as one person is already doing the extraction, right? So if Kent goes in, will he see Nancy is extracting or something like that?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So if you just pop in and out, no, let me think. I don't know. I don't know how to get back to that one. But if I pop in and out, oh yeah, so right, it does. So now I am extracting, right? Just because I popped in and out.
Is that right?
If
Okay. And
Yeah, so I did.
sorry, go
I
ahead.
thought I had to save it, but it looks like I don't even have to save it. Just whenever I click the back button, it will record me as being an extractor. Um,
I'm gonna see from my view. Let me see. It doesn't speak to me. Is that right? It doesn't speak to me. Okay, yeah, I see Michael is extracting and I am extracting. So does that mean I selected that? Or that must
um,
have been assigned to me?
no, I think when we were poking around last time,
Okay, I'm gonna
um,
try a different one. I'm gonna try one that's blank and then I'll have you test it. Okay, where'd it go? Oh, what was it? Oh, um, uh, Michael, find by Andrews. Search one by Andrews and let's see what it says.
Okay.
Number 292,
Mhm.
if that's helpful.
Yep. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, and all I did was I clicked begin extraction. Okay, good.
right. So I think the fact that you didn't save, like you didn't enter something and save it, means that it's still in the not started phase, but it does have you assigned as a
Yeah.
reviewer, right? But once you actually press the save button, it will flip into the in progress bucket and
Okay.
it'll be
Okay.
there, is my
But
understanding.
that's helpful. And just to explain why I'm doing this, it's just so that three of us don't start extracting the same article because that's a waste of our time. So that's why I was asking. Yep.
It looked like it, yeah.
Right.
They both popped up there
Yep.
once you both started doing it on my side. So it wouldn't
Great.
let me do
Mine
it.
too.
Great. Oh, good. Good. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, if we happen to
If
be
it
doing what we're
doesn't
doing right
show it,
now. Yeah. Sorry, Michael. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, even if it didn't show that there were two people and you tried to press the button and two people had in the interim done, it should give you a sorry, you can't do that.
Okay.
Move on.
Yeah.
Nothing to see
Uh,
here.
And then if you want to, and then if you say, oops, I want somebody else to do it, then you can reassign the reviewers.
Okay.
What? People can say, oh, I want Nancy to do this one. No.
But you can just reassign it back to them.
If she knew that somebody snuck it into her bucket.
So then,
yeah.
when are we meeting next? Then we can talk about how many. Do we have another one set?
The 20th.
20th.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
We might not have any after that though, do we?
Do we?
I don't know.
We don't.
Oh.
No, I think that may have been the last one we
Ooh.
scheduled.
Well, but we can just extend it. Do you just want to keep with the every other week plan?
That seems to be working.
What time is it? Let's see. I closed my calendar. What time is it? Thursdays at
2:30
Oh,
Central.
12:30 our time. My time.
It depends on the day. I have a lot of programming on Thursdays at 2:30, so it depends on the date. I shouldn't say I have a lot. I have some programming. I give some workshops on Thursdays at 2:30.
Is there a better time? Like, should we try
Before
to?
or after that time? Or we can just try to pick dates that I'm not giving a workshop.
Well, how about I go ahead and extend this invitation out to every other Thursday, and then next week when we meet, we can sort of check in to see if we want to move any of those dates.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Depending on whether in 2 weeks is one of the dates. That's the
Yeah.
conflict.
Are you available in 2 weeks?
What's that date?
The
August
20th.
20th. Yeah, that's already in my calendar. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just going to extend this out, and then we can touch base.
Okay. 2 weeks
weeks
after
from now.
that, I am not available.
Oh, okay.
That's one of my programs. Yeah.
Okay.
Would it be helpful if I sent whoever when those Thursdays are just
Yeah.
to, that might be easier. Who do I send those to? Kent?
Yeah, I've been the
Okay.
scheduler.
Okay. I will do that after we hang up.
Okay. Then I'll just adjust so what I'll probably end up doing is extending this invitation out like through December.
Yeah.
And then if you've given some dates that conflict, I'll move to a Thursday before or after.
That's great.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you'll first get one that says these conflict. Give me a chance to move them around. Yeah.
And I loved the one we said, rather than meeting, let's just use that time to
Yeah.
do the work.
Yeah.
So if there's ever a time when there's not a pressing issue, I think once it's on my calendar, then I can use that time effectively. That was
Okay.
very helpful for me that week we
Yeah.
did.
Ditto.
Okay. We will set a 4-hour meetings so that we.
Right. Please, yes.
No.
So then that's 2 weeks. How many should we try to extract, knowing that for some people, next week, no, not next week, then that week. Never mind. Next week's okay. Never mind. I just know this is a particularly busy time for probably all of us. So
Yeah,
we
I
should
got
be a
a
little
ton of
careful.
prep to do.
Yeah.
Me too. But
So how many should we, what are y'all thinking? 5? Is that too
Mhm.
many?
No. I mean, it took me 45 minutes to an hour to read the darn thing. Yeah.
yeah, I struggled to get 4 in, but I'm not traveling in the next 2 weeks, so I should be able to get one more done.
Okay. We'll just do our best, but
Okay.
aim for 5. Michael, does that sound? He's like, no, do twice that many.
I understand that like this isn't the best. I have to prep for my class too, so
Yeah,
I understand.
I think we all do. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's good.
All right. And next time we'll need to talk about the conference because we're supposed to get registered, or at least one of us needs to get registered by September 1, right?
Oh, I haven't even
You're
thought.
talking about ISOTL?
Yeah.
Well, I've already registered.
I'm
good.
registered for the conference.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Then
we
we
have
don't need to
to-
talk about it. I don't
Have we confirmed?
know. But then if you two are registered, I can do that.
Oh, are you the person to do that? Okay, don't
Yeah.
okay, I was worried I was forgetting. Yes, I am registered and I have my flights. So yeah,
I don't have my flights yet. I need to take care of that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, so in terms of like picking papers, I mean, I guess you can probably like pick them at random. It would be useful if we, if somebody else has picked one, if you sort of like pick another one or
That's
pick,
good point.
pick the same one so that we have some more consensus,
That's
some
a
more
good-
practice doing consensus in this early part.
Yeah, good point.
But yeah, but it's pretty transparent, like who's doing what and stuff. So, okay, does that make sense?
No. Sorry. I had a pop-up and I'm not sure I understood what you said.
Okay.
So if I
Uh,
see this undergraduate students math anxiety, one person is extracting, it would be better for me to pick that one than pick one that nobody is extracting. Is
Yeah.
that correct? Because
Yeah,
then I
especially
get-
for this next round, so that we have more practice and more feedback and more of that
Got it.
kind of stuff going on, right?
Got it.
Yeah. All right. Are we
All right.
good then?
We are good.
I think
Good. Have
so.
a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
And Kent, I will send you an email within 5 minutes with these Thursdays don't work for me.
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay.
Yay.
All right.
Bye,
Take care.
everybody.
Bye.